The Emerald Triangle. A border crisis erupts. Decades of tension between Thailand and Cambodia ignite, threatening to engulf the region in a devastating war.
Stop at the border. No way. The conflict sent this huge economic shockwave rippling out. An estimated 900,000 Cambodian migrant workers. I mean, that's almost 1 million people who are absolutely vital to Thailand's labor force. They just packed up and went home. The tension was just too high.
And let's be clear, this was not some minor border skirmish. The scale of the fighting was massive. It involved heavy-duty, sophisticated weapons. I mean, we're talking about Thai F-16 fighter jets doing airstrikes. Both sides were firing artillery and rockets. This was a full-blown military confrontation. Okay, so here's the thing. This explosion of violence in 2025, it didn't just happen out of the blue. Not at all. To really get what's going on, we gotta rewind the clock. This conflict has roots that go deep, more than a century of unresolved disputes and arguments over land.
This timeline really breaks down the key moments. It all kicks off with these vague colonial-era maps back in 1907. Then, jump to 1962. The International Court of Justice steps in and makes a big ruling about the Preah Vihear Temple. But here's the catch. They only decided who owned the temple itself, not all the land around it. Fast forward again to 2008, the temple gets listed as a UNESCO site, and boom, that just pours fuel on the nationalist fire. You can see how each of these things just added another layer of resentment, all leading up to what happened in 2025.
And right at the center of this whole mess is this ancient temple, Preah Vihear. For both Cambodia and Thailand, it's this incredibly powerful symbol of national pride, of their history. But because the land right around this amazing cultural treasure is still being fought over, it's just tragically become this constant source of tension, both military and political.
You know, the truly tragic part of all this is that it didn't have to be this way. Before the conflict, there was this completely different vision for the region. A vision of peace, of shared wealth, of everyone working together.
Yeah, this quote really gets to the heart of what they were trying to do. Back in 2000, they created something called the Emerald Triangle Development Cooperation. And that name, Emerald, was totally intentional. It was all about green development, peaceful, sustainable growth. The whole idea was to focus on the area's amazing natural beauty and cultural history. You know, a total opposite to the infamous Golden Triangle further north.
And for a while, it was actually working. The plan was becoming a reality. In the early 2000s, they got some real stuff done. You had a tourist info center pop up in Laos, training programs for ecotourism, and some really important roads got improved in Cambodia to link everything up. The goal was to take this border that divided them and turn it into an opportunity they could all share.
And if you look here, you can see the bigger picture. The Emerald Triangle wasn't just some small local project. It was meant to be a crucial piece of the puzzle for the whole greater Mekong subregion. The idea was to create these economic corridors, linking huge cities like Bangkok, Phnom Penh, and Ho Chi Minh City. This was a massive strategy for knitting the whole region's economy together. Okay, so now let's jump back to 2025 and really look at the devastating economic fallout from that broken promise of cooperation. Because when the fighting started, the shockwaves were felt way, way beyond the actual battlefield.
Just take a look at this. Tourism, the very thing that was supposed to drive all this cooperation. It got hit first, and it got hit the hardest. The second the conflict kicked off, visitor numbers from Thailand, which was Cambodia's #1 source for tourists, they just fell off a cliff. It's a really stark picture of just how fast a conflict can wipe out years of economic progress. And remember, those 900,000 migrant workers who went home? That had a massive impact too. You can see here they were mostly working in huge sectors like construction, food and beverage, and manufacturing. So when they left, it blew a massive hole in Thailand's workforce. And, just as importantly, it cut off a lifeline of income for hundreds of thousands of families back in Cambodia. So you see, the economic damage was coming from all sides. The money workers sent home, called remittances, that dried up. Tourism, we saw that, it collapsed. Trade and key goods got all messed up. And maybe the worst part? Investor confidence got totally shaken. These big regional manufacturing plans that absolutely depend on stable borders, well, they were suddenly at risk. So here we are, you've got these century-old wounds that have been ripped wide open, and now there's all this new economic pain on both sides. It just leaves the future of the Emerald Triangle looking really, really uncertain. And that brings us to the final big question. Can that original dream of a peaceful, cooperative green zone ever be put back together on a foundation that's been so completely shattered by conflict?